I didn't see that. It's me, Thomas Edward, also known as TA. Look, I'm at Dinting. We've come to see a steam shed today, or what's left of one. You know what's really bizarre, right? That's at class 323. They came in service just when this shut, the railway centre shut at Denton. They came in service like 30 years ago. That's pretty mad, that is. So I'm on platform here of the opposite side of the station we have today for the Glossop line. Obviously that's the old Woodhead line up there. But let's get through here. Oh. It's all overgrown, and look in here, look. I thought it was, look, you can actually see the opening at fire in here. Wow, it's pretty good, that. It's still got quite a good chimney breast on it. And all the beams and roof with plaster on. That's pretty, it's not decayed that much, really. It's natural decay. It's not quite a time capsule, but it's natural decay. There's a nice mouth of a fire there, opening of a fire. Looks like it's been bricked in slightly, but you can see on walls down below, you can see like a bit of wood running around the edge. Well, at the bottom there's holes, and that's where the benches have been, where people can sit. Now it's got two. It's got one like this. It's got one on the sides. Once upon a time, it would have been one for ladies and one for gents. Waiting rooms. And then probably at a later date they just went into one waiting room, and one was a booking office to get your tickets. So here, it's not changed too much since I've watched, obviously I said Martin's there and a lot of urban explorers have been here over the years. It hasn't really decayed that much more than when they came. No, Martin came like 3 years ago. It hasn't really changed. I like this. This is good. Look at this. It's got a sandstone arch on it. Yeah, look at that. I like that. It's got a sandstone arch in like a nice sort of V shape, and then a V-shaped wood on the back for the door frame. I mean, it's got this fancy work on brick here, on proper railway brick. See that there? It's amazing, really. Look, the wood's still here, and obviously the bottom of the bench is gone, but look, sit here, waiting for me train. You see, just sat here. I could have me paper, today's paper, and and then get out there and get on my train, and be next to a nice warm fire. It's not warm today though, it's quite cold. But yeah, it's a lot of natural decay in here. A lot of the plaster have come off the walls, but not on this side. It's quite intact, this side. You could turn up, scrape that all off and repaint it some more, and it'd come up like brand new. And all wooden frames here, shutters for sliding the windows. All the people going up the road there, look, getting in the cars, they come back from work. All got the rucksacks on, look, they're getting in the cars, going home. And it's actually quite there is a bus route, but I think it's one of the biggest things around here that you get on the train. A lot of houses around here, because you're on the outskirts of Manchester. But it's almost like a little commuting sort of station, this. It's well-used little station, but just think they could have 2 stations if they were lucky for the price of one, but they haven't, they've just got one. This bit here, what we stood in, you come out this door, this would have had a roof on it, probably a glass roof, a bit like where we were at Grange and Cumbria, it would have had a glass roof on it, with this is the front of here, this big wood here, this big oak wood, and it would sit on these. Now, I said this was a drain pipe. It might be hollow in there. It might have been used for a drain pipe, but I don't think it is actually. Now I'm looking at it. It's a wrought iron post for the front of the camera key. And this bit here is the middle one, what's like a full post, where this one's just a half post. Now this is a proper wrought iron post here. Now this is pretty mad, right? You can see where it's had several layers of paint on it. There's green, red, maroon, white. What's pretty mad about these is people like the guy at Lord's Antiques in Ingleton, or a reclamation yard. There's one at Bamber Bridge, isn't there? That way, there's a big reclamation yard. It's probably like anything from 200 to 600 quid a piece in that. What's pretty mad. People put these in the gardens and make their own camera keys, like, you know, like conservatories, and use these. Or they make sheds out of them. I've seen people make carports out of them. There's only one here, but the others are half two. I don't know. The other two might have been they might have been drain pipes, but I don't think they are actually. I think they're solid. Because you can see where this frame's is mounted on top of it. Obviously it's been pulled out right out of there. And the gutter's been on these brackets here. You can get some brush cutters down here, it's a bit overgrown. But in here, it gets even better in here. So we'll come out of the other waiting room. Don't know if it was the gents or the ladies. And we come in here and it's got a full door still left in it. Still on its hinges. So in here, still got a full door on its hinges. It's been sort of booted in. And you can see where it's had wood framing around it, where it might have had wood panelling at one point. It's just had plasterboards on it. But this has got a really nice fireplace in here, better than the other one. And it's got its mantelpiece on it, and it's surrounded, and it's cast iron, surrounded with the fire in there. And look at stuff what's come down the chimney. Something's nested in it, it's all falling out. And but this room, it's not like the other room. It's got this other door down here. Another little room in here. Don't know. It's had a pipe in it. It might have been a lavatory or a bit of a sink. It's got a pipe in it. It's had water facilities in it at some point. And it's pretty good in here. And the trees are slowly growing in this one. It's pretty mad, really. One of the two would have had a booking office in it, unless it was over there and this didn't have it on this side. I don't know. Right, so we've just come out station there. Now, I think these buildings here were the stores adjacent to the station. And obviously there was another station I'll go into in a minute. But down here, about 2010, 20 years after this was shut, so it's about 2010, isn't it? They came and looked round here to see what was left after it shut, Dinting Railway Centre. And in these stores here, there was some pipes, and I can see them here, there's two of them. Now, apparently these, let me get over here and have a mooch. These big pipes here, apparently, don't know how true this is, or is it true, and there's two of them, they're big long ones. These are the superheating tubes for Bahamas. Obviously Bahamas came in the shed in 1968, and this is its home. So when they refurbed it, they had the superheating tubes were pulled out and some new ones were put in. I think these were part of the roof or something. They were actually the structure of these buildings, obviously like support, and obviously it's fallen down and they've come down and they're in here and they're big solid. And these were the superheating tubes, boiler tubes, would have had little pipes in the middle of them as well. But I can't see in the end of any of them. But that one's a long one, that goes right up there. Yeah, I've looked down there, I can see end of another one down there. Now I see no small pipes in here, but apparently these are Bahamas superheating boiler pipes. And there's two of them, and they're long enough, I could imagine them in Bahamas boiler. Now I don't think that's probably too far off the truth. It's probably something someone's forgotten about now. They wrote that article and that was knowledge at the time, people read it, oh, that was interesting. But now, loads of years later now, with people who don't actually know they're still here, should be in a museum somewhere, like the last things of the thing is, these superheating tubes, right, Bahamas got overhauled here, right. These superheating tubes probably were in her when she was still on British Rail working the engine. When Mr. Smith hid it in the shed, these would have been inside of her. And now they're here on the ground, and they've been here 30 years, 30 plus years. I think they were in the roof originally, and they've fallen down. And now they're here to whether they gets redeveloped, and then someone takes them to the scrap, and someone will look at them and go, oh, they're old sewer pipes or water pipes, you know, but apparently they're out of Bahamas boiler. Right, just looking at my map now, and the next sort of thing to look at. And it says platform here, what was obviously the Dinting Railway Centre platform for when they ran engines, and you got a footplate ride or a guards van ride, because they had a good stretch of line. I think this is this here, because it was adjacent to the old station here, what's still on sort of the main line, and this is their station what they had. And you can still see it's still intact, you know, and up here it's actually got a walkway onto it round here. Obviously that would be line down there, and round here there's a building, what they would have been a building with a roof on, I would have thought, and then up here there's probably steps under here somewhere, what you can't see is we're stood on top of that platform there. So over that platform there, so over there would have been picnic area in there. Can't have a picnic in there today, you get brambled to death in there now. And then the memorial garden was further up. The platform wasn't a straight platform, look, it was a triangle. And we've just come up that little ramp there, or maybe that's that little cutout actually behind me, what would have had probably a roof on it. So there's a line here, what's over there, and then we're on this funny angle bit here, what's down there. Now, this obviously, so it's a two-line platform, and I think the cameraman has some photos that you can put in here now. So there you go, there's some photos there, you can see what it used to look like. And I think we'll get back down off here. The car park was over there, like the end of the car park was over there. We're going to get down onto the bed, and we're going to walk along, get back to the main steam shed, and then near the main steam shed there's a little path what will take us up to the narrow gauge bit section, what we still need to see before we go home. So I'm just standing next to one of the platforms on the sort of the preserved bit, we can call it. And obviously I'm stood a bit tall because there's a lot of debris come off the platform, but look, this is top edge here, and this is side, and then obviously track bed would be underneath me. But the cameraman was actually saying it's like Hogshaw at Buxton, it's all gone marshy and full of debris. On this side of the platform, the other platform, you can see quite a lot of the wall, all the top, all the way almost to the bottom, but because it's fallen away, I don't know how they've dug it out, so it's eroded away, I don't know what's gone on. Just looks like they've pushed it all up with a big digger. It's you wouldn't have thought there'd be a trap bed along there, would you? I've come up the back of the old shed, you can just see the roof of the old shed over here. Now this very fine curvature of this stone brick wall is one of the cuttings of the miniature railway of the Buxton Model Engineering Society, and I think it was in here, it was above ground on like concrete posts, but then it did go in the cutting. I have seen videos where it went in the cutting, and I think this is the cutting. It can't be used for anything more than a trench in World War I, but I think this is a narrow gauge, well, a miniature railway curvature of a line. There's something metal up there, so that's what I think it is. And we're going to walk round and find on top, I think there's some actual footings of plinths where it was one of those proper miniature railways where you dangle your legs over the side of the track and you got the little engine you're riding behind it. It's one of those, like, you know, like a 7-inch, maybe even smaller, that sort of gauge. And we're going to walk round and see the stuff on top. Oh, there's a big, there's a tree here. It's on top of the fence, hanging over Glossop line. You need to get Greg Billington, one of my patrons. He's actually on the bush cutting tree surgeon team of Network Rail. I think you need to come here, Greg, and get that chopped off, because it's not actually falling down, it's sort of bent back. It's lying on the fence and it's hanging over a good 12 foot over the banking. So if that came off, it might get down on line. You don't want debris on line, so you need to get your team here. You can still see on my left here all the cutting of the miniature railway, all the way along here. It does come back up eventually on top, where it's not on the cutting. Now we can cross over it here, it's got a bit higher. It's not as pronounced here, but the land works, the lay of the land, as I like to say, is it's still a cutting here. It's man-made, it's a man-made cutting. Yeah, it levels out here, looking down there, and the loop of the line is a big bone shape, like a dog bone, like Sutty and Sweep. Sweep always had a big bone, like the comedy style bone, and the line is a comedy style of a shape of a bone. See, it's there. We're around the back here, and you know it goes off there, and it goes. We're in this bit here where we've come right round there, and it's come in a bit. And if you look up there, it's, oh, you probably won't be able to see in camera. Just starting to curve back out again and go round in the loop. So I can actually see some footings over there. So I don't think I'll walk down there. We'll get in the middle and sort of walk across to the other side, I think. Now there's some things here in the middle of another cutting, and in the middle I think they had they had a servicing area with a little bit there and a viewing area, and that's probably a little water tower there and a little building. And I think this is the servicing area. Look, there's another cutting here, what I'm studying, and then I think this is the other side. I think this is the other side of the railway line, and that was the middle. And you can see and that's the servicing point. No, I've got it. I'm working out the lay of the land here. So come with me. So these concrete posts here, what we've got my boot on here. I think this is the inner edge of the line. What's near the old steam shed? What's there? You can see it's right there at the steam shed. Now we're not that far from it, and there's lots of old videos from filming up here looking at that. This is that line coming through here on these concrete posts, because it was run on concrete and it was very well made. That's why it's lasted so long. And then there's a servicing area. There's like I think probably a set of points came off here, and there's a servicing area and something tall up here, maybe that had a water tower on it or something, a small miniature water tower. And then these bits here is the servicing area where they would have had lines on top, and you probably could have drove a car up here, so you could put the engines in the back of your car or your van. Would have been there, a bit like Cinderbarrow up near us, near Carnforth. And then obviously that's the line, and then the cuttings round the back. And obviously if we followed it down there, it would go around and it would come to where we all stood before. So there's at Denton, there's not a lot left of the big standard gauge, apart from a shed and a few footings. There's actually more of the miniature railway. The Buxton Model Engineering Society is still here. No, it's all the footings. You can sort of see where track have been on these posts. You can see where it's been. And this is the servicing area. I don't know if it had a roof on it. I don't know if it was open like this all the time. And I'm definitely sure that's been a water tower, because on here, where it says servicing area on the map, there's a little round thing there, and I reckon that's been a water tower, and I reckon that's been a water tower there. And then this is the line next to it, because it's very near to the line. Oh, some guy will be straddled over his thing with his little engine here, getting pipe. No, he'll be back here actually. He'll be back here getting his pipe and filling the boiler up. And there's actually quite a bit of footage as well of this model railway. It is narrow gauge, but it's defining the inches and narrow gauges. Where do you class it as a narrow gauge and where do you class it as a miniature railway? And I think once you get under 15" and 10", you're getting a bit smaller an inch, and you're getting more to a model railway, and it's all about inches in narrow gauge. The bigger the inch, the bigger the narrow gauge before you get up to standard, and then the smaller an inch, the more it goes into model railway. And up there I can just see up here, there's a big old metal post up here. There's a big metal post here, might have been a signal, might have had a lamp on it or something. Just sat in there leaning against that tree. There's not many of these. What would be? Oh, there you go, down here. I was just thinking then, there's not many of these concrete posts, but I can see something here. Watch yourself here, it's a bit, lots of brambles everywhere. There's some more inline concrete posts for those concrete posts, and it's a really good view here, right up into the cutting up there. You can go right along those concrete pillars and that water tower, and you can just see the cutting go into the undergrowth. That one there, that concrete post has actually got a tree growing out of it. And then obviously it would have gone round there in the big curve and back round up there and into the cutting again. It's quite a big loop really. You get a bit of haulage on that, bit of proper chuffing sounds going on. You can't beat a miniature rail or a narrow gauge rail under load with a load of fat blokes sat on back of it really going. There's one at Hay Hall near Wigan. And when that's wet and it's got a few big people sat on back, well, any weight of any adult will make it really slips on corners. It's going like hell, like doing a shh. And it really slips, and that's the best bit of miniature railway, because you can really put a big load on them. But down here, we're going to walk down here. There's the old path that goes down to where the standard gauges, and I just want to look at that before I go. And then we'll get off home back to Cumbria, sunny Cumbria. And I'll probably next time I see you is be on the railway seat back at home, doing me ending. I think that's the plan. But I just want to look at here. There's lots of footpaths on this forest because there's a lot of dog walking activity and bike activity. There's a lot of scrambled bike tyre marks all over the place. Right, sun's going down on TE on this very cold February evening. And this is the old path down here, back down to the standard gauge. Well, obviously you would have gone back down to the exhibition hall and then back to the main old sheds, as they call it on the map. And this is the narrow gauge up here. So we're going to go off now and get back to Denton station and go and meet Rod. And get back to Piccadilly and then get a train back to Cumbria. So next time I see you, I'll be on the railway seat. So see you in a bit. Gotta stay in there, Rod. Gotta hide in there when we get on the train. Oh, it's here, Rod. Oh, it's here. I best do it. Get in there.
Sense enthusiasm in this place, and the humour in the smiling blackened face. They are like children with new toys, who live the dreams of little boys, and yet I sense this is their strength, this is their grace.
a song and dance? A song and dance routine.
Yeah, that's right, Brad, look. There's the shed, and that's where we were in all those signings there, and that's the line to Manchester, and that goes up to Woodhead, and that goes to Glossop down there. And then you came there and flew off down there, and then you flew back, and then we got on the train in that station there. Oh, I didn't see you come in there. Look, Brad, the camera. Showbiz. And we're back home from coming back from doing Dinting, and we've just got the old maps here, just looking at the shed. And it's been a two-parter, because it was so big. We got so much footage. We've had to edit it into 2 parts because there's so much to look at. You don't realise that it's not just a shed. You've got a station. You've got the new shed. What isn't there is just a footing. You've got narrow gauge. Yeah, we like narrow gauge, don't we? And then there was lots of other bits to walk around as well because it's such a big bit of land. So we just need Bezos's cash to buy it all and then get some yeah, that's right, get some serious cash to buy it again, you know, and put 37s and steam on it. So if you well, and I've got to say, I've got to thank Bahamas Society for, I've used some of their footage to show what it used to be like, and a few other people's footage that I will put below. If you've enjoyed today's video, make sure you give us a like and subscribe. There's a Patreon link below. What support these days out, so I can get out on the road. And yeah, that's right. And also Rod can get out on the road too. And also there's also get merch below. Yeah, merch, and you can also. That's about it really. I think that's all I've got underneath me videos at the moment. And remember to comment below, subscribe, and ready. Click that big bell. Ding!